Imagine Cristiano Ronaldo scoring in front of a packed stadium. He runs toward the crowd, jumps, lands, throws out his arms, and thousands of people scream his celebration back at him. That is almost cartoon-level main character energy. Now imagine a completely ordinary guy at dinner. His friend says, "My girlfriend broke up with me." And somehow, 30 seconds later, the guy is telling a 15-minute story about his own ex, his own pain, his own growth, while the friend who was actually dumped just sits there, listening. Same energy? Not exactly. Because being confident, dramatic, ambitious, stylish, or loving attention does not automatically mean something is wrong with you. Main character syndrome is not an official mental health diagnosis. So where is the line between being the main character of your own life and acting like everyone else is just an NPC in it? Let the duck explain. Every human being experiences life from the center of their own camera. You never wake up inside someone else's head. You hear your thoughts, you feel your embarrassment, you remember your failures in painful high definition. So of course your life feels like a story happening around you. That part is normal. The problem begins when your brain quietly upgrades this from "I am the main character of my life" to "I am the main character of the room." Picture this. You walk into a cafe. Two people suddenly stop talking. They were talking about me. Someone looks at you and whispers to a friend. They notice something weird about me. Your coworker is unusually quiet. They're mad at me. Your friend takes 5 hours to reply. They're ignoring me. You post a photo. One particular person doesn't like it. They definitely saw it. They're trying to send a message. Notice what happened. You had almost no information. But your brain wrote an entire screenplay and somehow you got the lead role. This is one of the strangest forms of main character thinking because it doesn't feel narcissistic at all. It can feel like insecurity. You are not thinking, "Everyone loves me." You are thinking, "Everyone is judging me." But there is one thing both thoughts have in common. Everyone is still thinking about you. The loud version says, "I deserve more attention." The anxious version says, "Everyone's attention is already on me." Different emotion, same camera angle. Psychologists have long studied something related, the spotlight effect. People tend to overestimate how much others notice their appearance, mistakes, and behavior. That stain on your shirt has occupied 20% of your brain for the last hour. The person across the room may not have noticed it at all. Your internal camera is zoomed in. Theirs isn't. Main character behavior becomes much easier to see in conversations. You say, "I barely slept last night." They say, "You think that's bad?" "I slept 3 hours." You say, "I finally got promoted." "That reminds me of when I got promoted." You say, "I'm really worried about my dad." "I know exactly how you feel." Followed by 10 minutes about themselves. Sometimes sharing a similar story is just an attempt to connect. The real test is what happens next. Do they bring the conversation back to you? Do they ask another question? Do they remember that your story was the reason the conversation started? That is the first major sign. They do not join conversations. They absorb them. The second is stranger. Other people slowly stop being full people and start becoming roles. This is my supportive friend, my jealous coworker, my toxic ex, the person who abandoned me, the person who is supposed to cheer for me. And the moment one of them behaves outside the assigned role, the main character gets confused or angry. The supportive friend says no. The jealous coworker gets a promotion. The ex moves on and seems genuinely happy. The quiet friend develops a life that no longer revolves around the protagonist. Suddenly, the script is broken because an NPC is not supposed to have a storyline of its own. Real people do. Then comes another sign. Attention starts feeling less like something to enjoy and more like territory to defend. Someone else tells a great story, they interrupt with a better one. Someone else gets complimented, they mention their own achievement. It is someone else's birthday, and somehow there is a fight, a dramatic announcement, a mysterious mood, or a crisis that pulls everyone's attention back. This is where main character energy stops being a funny internet phrase and starts becoming exhausting. Because every relationship requires something very uncinematic. taking turns. Sometimes your partner is the interesting one. Sometimes your friend has the bigger problem. Sometimes someone else gets the applause. Sometimes you are not misunderstood, betrayed, admired, hated, or secretly envied. Sometimes nothing is about you. And for someone who needs to feel central, that can be hard to tolerate. Which brings us back to celebrities. Does Cristiano Ronaldo have main character syndrome? I have no idea. And neither does TikTok. We can watch celebrations, interviews, photo shoots, or football matches. We cannot see inside a stranger's private relationships and diagnose a personality from clips. But Ronaldo is useful for a better question. What happens when being the center of attention is literally part of your job? Imagine millions following your career, cameras waiting for your reaction, fans chanting your name, your face on advertisements, news stories built around what you said, wore, or did. For most people, everyone is watching me is an exaggeration. For a global celebrity, sometimes a lot of people actually are. One study that measured narcissistic traits found higher average scores among the celebrities it tested than comparison groups. But it did not prove that fame created those traits. Maybe attention changes people. Maybe people who already enjoy status, competition, admiration, and visibility are more likely to chase careers that offer those things. Reality is probably more complicated than either story. Now imagine leaving the stage and going home. At work, thousands of people may treat you like the most important person in the building. At home, your partner wants you to take out the trash. Your audience wants your performance. Your partner wants your attention. Close relationships demand curiosity, vulnerability, compromise, and the ability to care about a story that is not yours. Research on narcissistic rivalry. The more competitive, status-defending side of narcissism has associated it with lower relationship satisfaction. Not because confidence destroys love, but because intimacy becomes difficult when every interaction turns into a competition for importance. And you do not need to be famous for this. Social media gives ordinary people a tiny version of celebrity life. You choose the shot. You choose the caption. You decide which vacation becomes part of the story and which boring Tuesday disappears. You can check views, likes, reactions, and shares before breakfast. Again, that does not make social media evil, but it can train a seductive habit. Instead of asking, "Did I enjoy this?" you start asking, "How did this look?" Instead of, "Do I like this person? How will we look together?" Instead of, "Was this moment meaningful? Should I post it?" And eventually, you can become the director, actor, editor, critic, and marketing department of a movie nobody else realizes they are in. Here is another sign people miss. Main character thinking often comes with special rules. If someone cancels plans on you, they are disrespectful. If you cancel, you are overwhelmed. If someone interrupts you, they are rude. If you interrupt, you are excited. If someone forgets your birthday, they do not care. If you forget theirs, you have been really busy. Your brain gives your behavior something it cannot give anyone else: behind-the-scenes footage. You know your intentions. You know your stress. You know why you reacted that way. With other people, you usually see only the final scene. So your mistakes get explanations. Their mistakes get character judgments. Here is one question that exposes the pattern quickly. When someone hurts me, do I wonder what was happening inside them? Or do I immediately decide what their behavior means about me? Now, before you mentally send this video to that one friend, there is bad news. You probably do some of this too. Most people do. The goal is not to become a background character in your own life. Actually, the healthy version of main character energy can be great. Take yourself seriously. Wear the ridiculous outfit. Go to the restaurant alone. Leave the relationship that makes you miserable. Start the project. Stop waiting for imaginary permission. Your life should matter to you. The problem is not having a spotlight. The problem is assuming everyone else exists inside it. So how do you know when you are crossing the line? Try 3 uncomfortable tests. First, the conversation test. The next time someone tells you something important, notice how quickly your brain searches for your own related story. Do not immediately say it. Ask them one more question, then another. See how long you can stay inside somebody else's world without dragging them back into yours. Second, the explanation test. When somebody behaves strangely, force yourself to invent 3 explanations that have absolutely nothing to do with you. Your friend replied, okay, instead of, okay. Maybe they are angry, or maybe they are working. Maybe they are tired. Maybe they are standing in a supermarket trying to stop a bag of oranges from rolling across the floor. Your brain hates uncertainty, so it writes stories. Do not believe the first draft. Third, do something that nobody will ever know about. Go somewhere beautiful and do not post it. Help somebody and do not tell anyone. Wear something because you like it, not because you imagined the reaction. Have a good day that produces absolutely no content. It sounds trivial. It is not. You are teaching your brain that an experience can be valuable even when it has no audience. And what if the main character is not you? What if it is your friend, coworker, partner, or family member? Do not diagnose them. Calling someone a narcissist or telling them they have main character syndrome during an argument will probably create a bigger argument. Respond to the behavior instead. If they constantly redirect conversations, say, I want to finish what I was telling you. If every disagreement becomes a dramatic catastrophe, stay with the actual issue. If they treat your boundaries like a betrayal, repeat the boundary without writing a 12-page defense. And, most importantly, stop accepting the role they assigned you. You are not required to be the permanent therapist, the permanent audience, the villain, the rescuer, the jealous friend, the person who always understands. You are allowed to be a complicated human being in somebody else's story. Because here is the part people miss. The solution is not thinking less of yourself. It is realizing there is more of everyone else. That stranger walking past you is worrying about something you will never know. The cashier has people they love. Your parents existed before you knew them. Your partner has thoughts they have never told you. Your quiet friend has an entire inner world that continues when you leave the room. Every person you meet is carrying a story as detailed, confusing, embarrassing, funny, and important to them as yours is to you. And once you really understand that, something strange happens. You do not become less important. The world becomes bigger. You can still celebrate like you scored the winning goal. You can still walk into the room with confidence. You can still build a life that feels cinematic. Just remember, you are the main character of your life. But the person next to you is not an NPC. They are the main character of theirs. Understand your mind. Protect your peace. And every time you feel like the people around you are NPCs, let the duck explain.